Hello and welcome to Team PokeMart, your one-stop shop for things that you need to stop and or shop for. And today, valued customers, sadly you are unable to stop and or shop because we've had to close our doors in order to conduct a stock take session. And usually in retail that would mean me sitting down for a series of monotonous hours counting things like balls, 1, 2, 1, 2, and so on and so forth. However, in the case of Team PokeMart, a stock take refers to us needing to send out our employees to quite literally take stock and return it to Team PokeMart so that we can sell it on to you, the valued customer. So who knows what we'll end up with tomorrow? Not me, but make sure to press that subscribe button to find out, which will keep you up to date on all of our latest acquisitions. But because I was deemed too incompetent to participate in the stock take, I've been told to stay here and distract all of you for roughly, I'd say 10 minutes, with some sort of inflammatory video content. So with that in mind, we are going to be going over 10 shocking Pokemon facts that you may or may not have already known. You probably didn't, and even if you did, I'm going to say that you didn't, because there's some really weird stuff on this list that I certainly didn't know. Some of it very intriguing, some of it fairly mind-blowing, and all of it wildly concerning. So make sure to keep your eyes on this screen, not on your Pokemon, as we get straight into things with shocking fact number 1. The oldest conventional object that we know of as a Pokeball is said to have been created 20,000 years ago. That's right, as it turns out, my job as a Pokemon accessory salesman dates all the way back to ancient times, and it may very well be the oldest profession in the world. And the item in question that I am referring to is known as the Giant Stone Pokeball, which was crafted to contain a giant world-ending Claydol. So naturally, Team Rocket blew up the ball and freed the apocalyptic monster, even proceeding to call it a fat ball of clay, which was ill-advised to say the least. Luckily, the ancient whatever people saw the incompetence of Jesse and James 20,000 years in advance, because after almost 400 episodes of the anime, they were in fact that predictable by then, and a second giant stone ball was created for this very eventuality. However, if that one were to break open, then well, we are undeniably screwed. Also, strangely, this giant Claydol has a bizarre fetish for Wobbuffets dressed in maid outfits, so yeah. Shocking fact number 2. Staryu and Starmie are aliens. So have any of you ever sat down and pondered just how strange Staryu and Starmie actually are? Even in this world, anthropomorphic stars with no face simply do not quite belong. And it is believed by several pokey theorists that these star bras originate from outer space, which isn't exactly a new concept for Pokemon, but the star duo is usually overlooked in this respect. And a big piece of evidence in favor of this idea is that Staryu tend to gather at night and sort of flash their cores up at the stars, assumedly sending a signal informing a star fleet that our human world is weak and ripe for the picking. And I certainly would not be surprised to wake up tomorrow to find all of our leaders replaced with various star lords and star ladies, and a new mandate that we now need to dress in fluffy star outfits. A terrifying thought, but highly likely. And I for one would like to welcome our new star rulers well in advance, as well as ask if they might have a position in some sort of star-based accessory outlet selling power gems and, I don't know, lubricant? Whatever it is that stars need to survive. Until then though, shocking fact number 3. Brock is indeed capable of opening his eyes. And if that wasn't shocking enough for you, he's actually opened his eyes not once, not twice, but thrice in the history of Pokemon. All for quote-unquote comic effect, and by comic, I mean nightmarish. Brock is a strange man from many perspectives, although man is a pretty generous word because child is more accurate. Although to be fair, this child is now a doctor at the age of what, like 15? He's definitely turned into something of a frustrating overachiever. I mean, he's half my age and he now makes 10 times my salary. So you know what? Yeah, we are going to make fun of his eyes because that's all I've got. Besides, it's just weird because this implies that he keeps his eyes closed on purpose for almost certainly very suspicious Brock-related reasons. So just know that every time you see this seemingly wise, fox-eyed trope teenager, there is something going on behind all of that. And it's not good. Not good at all. Shocking fact number 4. Pokemon Gold and Silver were meant to be the final games in the franchise. Yes, you heard that correctly. According to Pokemon Company president, whose name is Tsunekazu Ishihara, they did not intend to make any Pokemon titles after these two, instead wishing to embrace the newly dawned 21st century and move on to providing something new. However, this was obviously before Game Freak realized the concept of profit as well as the benefits that profit grants. You see, money is a substance that can be exchanged for goods and services, and if you were to have many money, then you can exchange it for many goods and services. So instead of bursting into the 21st century with new and bold ideas, a decision was made to continue releasing the exact same game for the next 2 decades. And let's all be honest, it worked. In fact, it seemed to be exactly what customers want. I mean, I know that when I picked up my copy of Sun and land or moon and discovered that there were no gyms, I was furious because I was looking forward to doing the exact same thing that I'd already done a billion times before, and now I couldn't do the thing. Great. Just great. Shocking fact number 5. Victini is the only Pokemon to have a Pokedex number of 0. Alright, so Victini, for those of you who are unaware, is a mythical Pokemon, and if you're unaware of Victini, you're probably unaware of what a mythical Pokemon is as well. But basically, a mythical Pokemon is kind of like a legendary, just much smaller and usually useless. Adorable though, very adorable. However, what makes Victini unique amongst this bunch of uniquity is that it refuses to be boxed in by conventional Pokemon standards. No, Victini is not a number. It is a strong, independent rabbit chicken thing that exists outside of the norm. Except with the national dex where Victini is designated as 494, so suck it, Victini. But in the Unova Pokedex it still remains as 0, and why is this? Well, the answer is it is probably completely arbitrary. It's just a little thing that was done to make Victini seem a little bit more special than it is. Although because it was a mythical Pokemon available allegedly before launch day, I suppose you could make the argument that it was deemed as number 0, so as not to give away the total number of Pokemon in the Unova region. Whatever the case, it's a thing, and we're gonna have to deal with it. Shocking fact number this one. Professor Oak is a boss. There is something that many Gen 1 rememberers often get a bit gobsmacked with, and that is the idea that Professor Oak was, at one stage, intended to be your final boss after defeating the Elite Four. But what takes this idea even further is that in the Pokemon Adventures manga, it is revealed that Oak was indeed a former champion of the Kanto region. And while that sort of manga canonicity doesn't necessarily affect the games or the anime, especially the anime, it is still an intriguing thought, especially because that would mean at one stage literally every male resident of Pallet Town would have been the champion at some stage, and it would make Oak's overall impression significantly more admirable than the goofy, bumbling professor that we've come to know elsewhere. That and the fact that he is almost certainly banging Ash's mother. In fact, there's even entire theories that Oak is Ash's neglectful father, thus potentially making Gary Ash's uncle, and it's a deep rabbit hole to go down. In reality though, Pokemon is far more of a soap opera than a story about battling monsters for glory. And with that in mind, next up is a rather big development, being shocking fact number 7. The Kanto Elite Four had plans to literally end the world. Yeah, that's right. You guys remember Lorelei, Bruno, Agatha, and Lance? Well, they weren't just oddly talented trainers who sat around all day waiting for schmucks to beat. No, they had much larger and surprisingly, genocide-y ambitions. And this once again comes to us in the form of the Pokemon Adventures manga, where it is revealed that this band was actually led by Agatha, who, amongst other things, was mind-controlling Bruno through vaguely defined ghost powers. But the idea was that they were looking to save the world by wiping away all of humanity, with the exception being those who were kind to Pokemon. Of course, their plot is stopped, and in the end, Bruno forms a new Elite Four consisting of Will, Koga, and Karen, all of whom possessed equally as dubious backgrounds, especially Karen. As every retail specialist will tell you, never trust a Karen. Shocking fact number 8. Spinder has allegedly 4 billion variants. Probably even more actually, but the idea is that each of these funky creature things has a unique spot pattern, and according to a variety of Pokedex entries, the chances of 2 Spinder having the same pattern is less than 1 in 4 billion. However, people who understand and practice mathematics, neither of which I engage in beyond providing a customer with their change, have posited that the exact amount of Spinder variations is this ungodly whatever number. There's a lot of numbers there. Meanwhile, in various games such as Pokemon Go for example, Spinder, despite this theory, has a mere 8 variations. A pretty far cry from the bold Pokedex claims. Shocking fact number 9. A ferret is taller than a Charizard. Yes, this thing is taller than this thing. And this really is one of those moments where you realize that when inputting data such as height and weight, there really was very little in the way of consistently in the brains of the Pokemon creators. To be fair, I suppose Ferret is known as the long body Pokemon, and it is allegedly 5 foot 11 inches, which is about 1.8 meters tall, and that is pretty damn tall for a ferret. In fact, it would make the ferret taller than I am actually, which would mean that it might try to assert its dominance over me and attempt to commandeer my job as local manager of Team PokeMart. And what am I supposed to do about that? Because guess what? Even if I sent out a Charizard to defend me, that wouldn't even help, because apparently this glorious winged lizard is only 5 foot 7 inches, aka aka 1.7 meters, which really does ruin the glorious image of Charizard, given that I now know that it is exactly my height. And finally, we have shocking fact number last one, being 10. Pokemon were once people. That or humans were once Pokemon, or I guess perhaps more accurately, that humans and Pokemon have extraordinarily similar biological beginnings, with one Sinnoh folktale providing a major source of evidence stating the following. There were once Pokemon that became very close to humans. There were once humans and Pokemon that ate together at the same table. It was a time where there existed no differences to distinguish the two. And this raises questions, ever so many questions. The most pressing of which is, did humans, do it with Pokemon? And the answer is a resounding 100% yes. Thus justifying every God of War lover's deepest desires, at least in their minds, not so much in mine. But looking at things from another perspective, perhaps it's not so much that Pokemon were once humans, but that we were once, nay, we are Pokemon ourselves. A series of profoundly disappointing normal types, inferior in every way to the beasts that we caress within our balls. And should they become aware of this, well, then there is certainly no hope for us whatsoever. Although, to be honest, I really don't mind the idea of living inside a Pokeball. At the very least, it does sound rather convenient and cost-effective. But there you have it, a series of 10 shocking facts that has kept you distracted exactly as long as it needed to. I hope you learned something here today, beyond the idea that you should never trust a man in an apron. But please do make sure to stop by Team PokeMart and say hi, which you can do in the comments below. And if you're interested in some of our other merchandise, then please do click these tantalizing links over here. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for regular updates on our new stock. But for now, this has been Team PokeMart, and I'll see you next time.